The sailing. My wife and I are in our 40s and have been together for almost 20 years, although we actually married fairly recently. We met through mutual friends and we do not have any children. We have always considered ourselves soulmates and have never hidden things from each other. 2 weeks ago, my wife went on a long weekend trip with a male friend of ours, but whatever he is not the culprit. I trust this person who she went on the trip with because we are good friends with both him and his wife. And just like me, his wife has no problems with the situation because we both trust our spouses. They stay in the same hotel room but sleep in separate beds. This is a trip to a convention they have been taking together for the past 8 years, and until this year there have never been any problems. On the morning my wife arrived home, she woke me up, it was 5:30 a.m., and told me that she slept with someone the night before. I was devastated, hurt, and angry. In the following days she told me what had happened. At first, I thought it was some stranger, but it turns out that it was someone who she worked with who was about half her age. She has been working with the male culprit for about a year and knew he would be at the same event she was attending. She told me that the day it happened, she was intoxicated and ditched our mutual friend to wander around. The male culprit texted her to go to his hotel room to hang with his friends and have some drinks, so she went. As the night wore on, people left the room, leaving her alone with him. One thing led to another and they wound up sleeping together. She told me that after the deed was done, she was upset and told him that she was going to tell me what happened because her life was over. He asked her not to tell me, but she said that she could not hide this from me. At first, I was so shocked that all I wanted was to just pack my stuff and leave. Eventually, I came to realize that we have so much tied up both emotionally and financially that it would not be so easy to do. I would like for us to remain together, but it is not going to be easy for me until I find out how this happened. I know that whatever answer I get is not going to be satisfactory. But in order for this not to happen ever again, she has to realize why she did it. No matter how much I try to find some kind of understanding, it just makes me feel worse. I have been losing sleep, not eating properly, and drinking a lot. What really infuriates me about the whole thing is how she put herself in such a situation. She's always had male friends and I've never had a problem. I allowed it, but I've always told her to be careful who she hangs out with, and she would sometimes be offended when I said that and get defensive by telling me that not every man is out to get into her pants. Oh, the irony. This guy who she was with knew that she was married and still went ahead with what he did, which also makes me angry at him. I saw the history of communication on her phone between the both of them, and nothing gives me the impression that this was planned, at least on her behalf. The other factor is, why did it have to go to that extreme for her to realize that what she did was wrong? Why didn't she stop this once the culprit started kissing her? Why didn't she stop this when clothing was being removed? Why didn't she stop this when foreplay was engaged? Was there some kind of moral disconnect, or was she enjoying herself so much that ruining our lives was the last thing on her mind? She has apologized and is remorseful about what happened. She has cut off all communication with this person and given me passwords to social media, smartphone, etc., and constantly texts me as to where she's at and what she's up to. The only issue I have is that she is on break right now from her job, but next month she returns to work where the culprit also works. She tells me that he works in a different area than her and they would only see each other for maybe 10 minutes a week for work reasons. Last night I could not contain some of my anger and blew up. I got in her face, started yelling, and even waved my fists at her because I felt she was being defensive and trying to dump some of the blame on me. She denied that she was trying to do that, but I felt otherwise. I could never lay a hand on her and I never have. That's the ugliest it's ever gotten between us. Before this incident, our arguments were very minor and we barely even raised our voices to each other. Today I got a response from her that the reason she did what she did was I was drunk, horny, and stupid. What else could I say? There is no justification or satisfactory answer as to why I did what I did, and it will never happen again. I know I wasn't a perfect husband, but I am not going to take even 1% of the blame for what she did. Right now, we are going to counseling, and next week I am going to attend a support group to try and help ease some of the pain. Although it is not recommended for couples trying to fix their marriage, I feel like doing the same to her so she knows just how I feel, and also because my self-esteem is in the gutter. In my life I've never felt so unattractive, unloved, and insecure. The humiliation, hurt, and anger that I am going through is not something that will go away anytime soon, but I feel deep within my confused mind doing something just as foul will boost my self-esteem, which is already at the lowest it's ever been. There is no doubt that we still love each other and want to make this work, but I don't know what lies ahead. Comment: she is not your soulmate. She probably has done a lot more from the sound of her boundaries. Where was the male friend of hers, covering for her? Does his wife know? You should tell her because they probably cover for each other. I would bet good money this is not your wife's first rodeo. This was not drunk and stupid because she had to be premeditated to be around this guy where there was opportunity. New job is a must. Test her and tell her you want a polygraph. I bet you find out a lot more. Honestly, the truth is you are never going to have the same relationship with her that you once did. You probably are coming to terms with that, but you need to. No amount of hard work is going to make it go back to the way it was. You have a new relationship with a different person. I know that is hard, but it's the truth. You would do better to accept that than trying to get the old one back will only prolong your pain and drive you crazy. She is not your soulmate, just another common cheater. OP responds, I inspected all communication between my wife and the culprit. I have checked the phone records and so far, nothing gives me the impression that this was premeditated, at least on her behalf. In the past months there are only 4 days of communication, text messages and 2 comments that he posted on her Facebook page, and this was right before and during the convention. She never deleted the text messages or FB comments between them and showed them to me. The only thing that sounds suspect is a message from him on the last day asking her if she wants to hang out and have a drink with him and a bunch of friends in his hotel room. Many of you think that our mutual friend was up to no good with my wife, and I would have to totally disagree. This man is like a brother to my wife and me. We are close to him, his wife and his son. If he did something with her or knew about what she was up to, he would tell me. I remember him once telling me that he went to a bachelor party and got a lap dance. He felt so guilty that he told his wife about it afterwards because he felt that what he did was inappropriate. I read an email that he sent to my wife days after all of this happened, and he doesn't know anything. In that email he says that he was angry at her for being constantly intoxicated and did not want to be around her, so he was avoiding her for most of the time. The reason for this is because he does not drink and finds intoxicated people annoying. Although I would like her to, it is not possible for my wife to quit her job. Before she took a break last month, a new contract was drawn up and she committed herself to working there until the end of the year. What she is doing is similar to consulting and the pay is very good. She gets along well with her superiors and they let her choose her own schedule. She will only be there for 2 days a week and the rest of the week she is at her other job. Right now, finances are tight and we can't afford for her to leave that place. Besides, I work about 15 to 20 minutes away and I've told her that once she goes back there, I might decide to drop by every once in a while to pay her a visit. Since she could not behave like a responsible adult, I will be monitoring her phone, Facebook, email. If she goes out with her friends and I don't feel comfortable, I may even decide to pop up by surprise wherever she is. She had the trust and she blew it, so she will have to pay the consequences. After all of this happened, she said that if I wanted to know, she would tell me who it was. I declined because I was so upset that I would not believe her. I found out for who the culprit was because when I looked at the phone records, I noticed a buildup in activity from a certain number that was not there before during the weekend that has the same area code as the town she works in. Then when I looked at her Facebook page, I noticed a comment from someone I did not know whose description contains where they work at. Right now, no one except for the marriage counselor and the support group organizer know what has happened. I would rather keep this quiet, but if I suspect that there is any funnier business going on, I will blow up her spot in a heartbeat to her friends, family, co-workers, etc. Right now, she is remorseful and resentful, but in the numb state I am in, it is very difficult for me to process. She says that she will do anything to make things right and we are attending joint counseling. She made an appointment with her doctor for next week at my request. I will also be attending a support group by myself. Right now, I see a difficult but not impossible road ahead of me and I do not want to do anything to ruin it. What scares me is that I feel one day I might go out for drinks with friends and feel drunk, horny and stupid, and because of what was done to me I possibly will not be able to contain myself. Comments. What should scare you and more so her is when the shock and trauma wear off, when you see the situation with clarity without the understandable desperation you are in now. Then your marriage will get hard, as they all do. That is when most men like you have the hardest time. That seems to be when they wake up and feel like they were taken advantage of because they were faithful, and their wife wasn't. There are so many posts of men 10 years later who just slowly lost love and respect for their wives because of the disloyalty. The sad thing is the 10 years they wasted. This is why it's really not good to make a decision quickly. It makes much more sense to accept the marriage is gone, detach emotional, and then decide if you want to start over with this new less loyal woman your wife is. It speeds up this process. Maybe she will have done enough to prove to you that she is worth it. I will say her being resentful is not a very good start. What is she doing to facilitate your healing anyway, besides crying? Has she gotten books, posted online, decided to go to IC, written you an apology? Why did you have to book the STD test? After the pain she has caused you, she should be trying to win you back and working her ass off. But then you have completely taken her off the hook by jumping back, so this has probably just empowered her to continue with her selfish thinking. Again, why it's not good to rush this stuff. Another thing you need to understand is not to try to get your old marriage back, because that is a goose chase. You are only going to end up disappointed. Recognize right now today that the marriage is dead. If you stay with this woman, this will now always be a part of the dynamic of your new marriage. If faithfulness was a part of what you cherished most in the relationship, the loss will be harder. In your first post you called her your soulmate, which says to me that you tend to romanticize your relationships and your partner. This is going to be a hard thing to square with her actions. With that being said, the most difficult but best advice I can give you is, if you are serious about staying with this woman, in my opinion, you need to end this kind of Orlando-like fairy tale about her now, today. It will prevent you from truly moving on. Your wife is a woman who traded in 20 years of love and loyalty from you for some tawdry drunken bonding. On a whim it seems. Accept it, don't fight it. That is the only way forward for you. The reason I say this is you see the ones who don't accept it and look for a magic key to explain it away and continue their fairy tale thinking end up stuck. There is no secret key to all this, there is only the truth, pure selfishness and cruelty. Accept it. After you get that, then and only then decide if this women are the one you want to commit the rest of your life to. Finally, your wife's actions seem so out of character I still wonder if you have the whole truth and really know who she is. I would schedule a polygraph if it were me to check if she is telling the truth and if this is the first time. Something seems off, I don't believe the story. Also, I would tell the guy she went on the trip with. She deserves to feel some shame for what she did because it is shameful, and he should know how he was used to facilitate cheating. Are you sure you want to deal with the idea that she is going to be seeing this guy she betrayed you with? That seems like a recipe for disaster. OP responds. Weeks later. So much going through my head right now that it has become very difficult to focus on things. I am also finding it more difficult to express myself properly without letting my emotions get in the way. Sorry for any miscommunication, but since I'm new here I still don't have a grasp on all of the terminology. Things have gotten a bit better but it's still too soon. I think that now she is starting to better process the damage she has done and will have to deal with the consequences and repercussions of her actions. Thank you all for your responses. I will now take the time to reply to some of them. Sorry if I can't cover everything. After investigating I've found out that this was not planned. No kissing, lunch dates, etc. They work in separate departments and barely come in contact. She is very technically inept and doesn't even know how to use her own phone. She has answered every question I have asked and I have followed through by investigating and she has come clean. To her credit, she is a very honest person and has never lied to me. That is why she came clean about what happened. I've looked at the contact between her and our mutual friend that accompanied her and he has no clue about what happened, because just like me he would never think that she would do something so despicable. I agree that I was very loose with boundaries, but then again, she is the same way with me. I'm allowed to go and hang out with whoever I want, male or female, however late I want, and it didn't bother her one bit. I trusted her and I always thought that she would never do something like this. She also feels the same way about me. But for now, the rules will have to change. Sucks that it had to come down to this. I have not specified the line of work she is in. Because of her job title and his title, this would not be possible. I did not say that the incident happened at a work conference, I said it was a convention. More of a hobby-type convention like a sci-fi convention, a comic book convention, music convention, etc. It wasn't exactly any of those, but I am not going to get into specifics just in case someone I know is on this channel. The trip was not work-related. The OM was there with some of his friends because let us say they are geeks for these types of things. Right now, I'm not really interested in the OM, doesn't mean I'm still not pissed at him, but he is not married to me and did not break any vows. He was just being a 22-year-old who still lives with his mommy and daddy trying to get a piece of tail. An revenge affair will boost my self-esteem and if it doesn't work, so be it. Justice is equality and fairness, or as Plato put it, a just man is a man in just the right place, doing his best and giving the precise equivalent of what he has received. And to repeat myself, she did not offer RA. I told her that I possibly planned on doing it and she said to go ahead if I feel it will make things better. We are not interested in an open relationship. A month later, final update. I knew that I needed to be strategic in my plan, so I took some time to gather information and come up with a plan of action. I started by building a relationship with her co-worker, pretending to be friendly and supportive of their relationship. Slowly, I began to gain his trust and was able to gain access to information about their affair. I used this information to my advantage and was able to get my wife fired from her job. But that wasn't enough for me. I wanted to make sure that she truly felt the consequences of her actions. So, I filed for divorce and made sure that she walked away with nothing. I took everything that we had built together, and she was left with nothing but the clothes on her back. As I watched her walk out of my life, I couldn't help but feel a sense of satisfaction. I had gotten my revenge, and I knew that she would never be able to hurt me again. I was finally able to move on with my life, knowing that I had taken back the power and control that she had taken from me. In the end, I realized that revenge may be sweet, but it's not always the best option. It's best to move on and focus on yourself, and let the past go. My comment: his wife is just a notch on OM's bedpost. He's working on even more notches. A working relationship means multiple accidental discharges. Just wonder if he's going to share what happened with the rest of the guys in his circle. Word kind of gets around unless he's a pro. Players are really smooth. What did the last person to leave them together in their room ask him or her in the morning? Or was that a lie too? If seeing him 10 minutes a week floats her boat, how about the other guys she sees more frequently? I just don't know about the entire story here. She's not too forthcoming. Looks like damage control to minimize what's really going on. Story 2. The Fast One. I found out in October 2021 that my husband had been calling escorts for numerous years, had made an explicit online profit on a match site along with a few other little details I won't bother you with. He continues to this day to flat out deny that he has ever had slept with anyone since we have been together, which is almost 15 years. He stated that the online profile he made was done and then he never went back to it. After finding these things out a few months later, after I had been going to individual counseling myself, we went to a marriage counselor, 4 times to be exact. In March 2022 I find a text on his work phone. Turns out it's a girl he gave his number to at a local store. He said that this happened before we started going to counseling. He was in a horrible place. He said that he gave her his number. He states this was a one-time thing and it had never happened before and will never happen again. I asked him why he didn't bring it up in counseling if he wanted this marriage to work. He said he should have. He stands by the fact that he made a huge mistake in looking at the escort profile, like it was just porn. He says that he was just curious and all he has done is call and text them. He has never met up with anyone. He says that all this was curiosity and he made a mistake that he will never do again. All he wants is to be back in my life. I have a great friend that I have been talking with for months that I met on here when I first posted about all of this. She is wonderful, but I just want to put this out there. My H has been flat denying having any type of physical contact or slept with anyone since we've been together. Looks me right in my eyes and says to me I have never had bond or done anything physical since we've been together. Has anyone else have their H do this and find out for sure that he was sleeping with workers, etc.? My H continues to plead with me daily to try to let him fix what he has broken. He begs. He's cried on multiple occasions. I really love the way you say he is choosing to protect himself over choosing your relationship. That is so true. You will never believe anything they say. I roll my eyes all the time when he talks to me or other people. I have caught him lying and I try to use it to my advantage like you are saying, but I can't really put my finger on it. I have more of a gut feeling than anything. There isn't even a ton of money or anything missing over the last few years, but who's to say he wasn't pawning stuff or hiding getting money out by doing cash back at the local stores instead of using the ATM every time. When he lied to me about the profile at Plenty of Fish, he said he didn't create that. Someone must have hacked his email. They utilized his Facebook info to fill it out. Wow. He ended up getting so upset he fell over into the floor, passed out I guess. Don't know because I don't trust him. Then the next day he tells me that he did make the profile. I have to say when he tells me he has never had slept with anyone or physical contact with anyone, nothing is between us, he is looking me straight in the eyes and I am having a hard time seeing the similarities. If someone uses the term never, is that a sign of them lying? And finally just had to move out of my house because my H would not leave. I moved into a 1-bedroom apartment with my son and he is in a 5-bedroom 2-bath house with the dogs and my stepson. He is even working out of town 4 days a week now, so he isn't even in the house much. He begs me to come back to the house and says he will leave. I say too little too late. I have signed a 6-month lease. Most everyone tells me I should stick it out and stay in the apartment until my lease is up and not to worry about the extra money going out. My H may up and leave the house at some point and then I really don't know what I am going to do. I have been to an attorney once and started the ball rolling, but that was at the end of July 2022 and it is now November 2022. All I need to do is bring him a list of what I want and what I want my H to deal with. I can't understand why I drag my feet. I am so ready to get out of this stagnant place that I am in. He swears to me that if I give him a chance to make this right, he will make me the happiest woman in the world. I need some more advice, please. I went to the attorney's office Monday to hire my attorney. I will have a draft of my papers by tomorrow. I have not told my H that I have actually went and filed the papers. I explain and have explained over and over where I am with us, but he continues to try. I could not tell him Monday morning that I was going or he would not have left out of town for work. He will return from his job this Friday. I don't know what to do. Should I tell him and then show him the draft to see if there is anything that he would want to change? Should I tell him only when the attorney is ready for him to go sign the papers? I don't know what direction to go. Please help. He will be devastated. Between May and November, I signed in on his Facebook account and of course there were no messages that were inappropriate, but my H didn't realize that you could see what someone had been searching over the course of time. There were numerous searches that were not acceptable, but in March 2022 I seen he had searched the word escorts and in July 2022 he had searched independent escorts in. He stated that he had a lapse and did type these words in the Facebook search just to see what was there. He denies that anything further took place. He didn't make any phone calls from his phone that I can check, but I can't see any text, and of course I don't know if he has a secret phone or something. We went to counseling together up until the day I seen the text from the sheik from Walgreens. When I found that, I stopped going. My H stated that he gave her his number before we had started attending counseling together. I said, well, you probably should have told someone that you gave her your number. That was it for me with the counseling. October 31st, 2022 was 1 year to the day that I found everything. Early on at one point he said to me, just give me a year and see where this goes. I was like, hell no. Well, I stayed in the same house with him until Sept 25th. Close enough. I can't say that I am afraid of him, although a few sketchy things have happened, but I know that he will corner me and talk to me until my ears bleed. He will try everything to get me to reconsider. I received a draft of the divorce papers yesterday. He does not know that I have talked to an attorney. I spoke to the attorney the first time in July, and then this month was when I had the papers drawn up. His actions consist of begging me to be the bigger person and give our marriage a chance. He buys flowers on occasion. For Christmas he bought me a diamond pendant but wanted to buy me a wedding set, and I told him do not buy me that. A few months ago, he brought home a little diamond ring to try and use to help him win my heart back, I guess so that I would recommit to him. I don't know, but I haven't worn that ring. I'll just say that. My comment: this is a current time frame issue. That is why there's no ending. What would you guys do if you were OP? Forgive or not? Comment down below, and I got more coming tomorrow.